My name is Clara Guttridge. I work for Reprieve, which is a legal charity based in London that represents people held in Guantanamo Bay and other secret prisons similar to Guantanamo. I came here 2 days ago, and I've spent most of my time here going around trying to speak to individuals and organisations that are connected to the rendition of a client of Reprieve's called Binyam Mohamed. Binyam Mohamed is a young man who lived for a long time in the UK. He was an immigrant an asylum seeker from Ethiopia, and he came on his own to the UK at the age of 14. He, growing up on his own with no family in the UK, he fell into fairly maybe bad ways. Got involved in drugs, and then decided that he wanted to really kick this, so he became a Muslim, which was helping him to focus, but it still wasn't really enough to get away from his kind of former life, so he decided to go to Afghanistan, which was then a Muslim state, Islamic state. And Binyam was there when the war broke out, and when the war broke out he decided to flee, like most people, and made his way to Pakistan. And it was in Pakistan that he got picked up for a passport violation. And in fact, 85% of the people in Guantanamo Bay, rather than being picked up on the battlefield in Afghanistan, were actually picked up and sold for a bounty in Pakistan and then rendered back into Afghanistan. So Binyam was held for 3 months by the Pakistani secret police, and he was being interrogated on a regular basis by the Americans. And then after 3 months in July 2002, he was handed by the Pakistanis to some American personnel who were all dressed in black and cut all his clothes off him and shackled him and put him on a plane and took him to Morocco. And in Morocco, Binyam was handed to Moroccan personnel, and he was taken to a place called the Tamara Detention Centre, which is a notorious torture centre run by the Moroccan secret police, and he was held in that place for about 18 months and subject to gruesome torture, including being cut all over his body, including on his genitals, with a razor blade on a regular basis.
I can tell you two things. One, that we abide by the law of the United States. We do not torture. And two, we will try to do everything we can to protect us within the law. We do not render to countries that torture. That has been our policy, and that policy will remain the same.
And so after 18 months of that, finally Binyam was just saying what his Moroccan torturers wanted him to say, and he was taken then to Afghanistan. He was held in a prison called the Dark Prison, which is called the Dark Prison because there's no lights in it, and it's so dark that prisoners can't even see their hands in front of their face. They're chained to the ground. It's freezing cold in the winter and boiling hot in the summer. And some prisoners have also called that the disco prison because there's speakers outside every cell and extremely loud music and weird sounds blasted out 24/7. So he was taken there for about 4 or 5 months, and then he was taken to Bagram Air Force Base, which is like Guantanamo except worse. None of the prisoners there have ever seen a lawyer, and it's got 3 times the amount of prisoners in it than Guantanamo Bay. And after a few months in Bagram, he was then taken to Guantanamo. And there he is. The United States government has tried to charge him within the military commission system, and tried to argue that they don't have to look into or even investigate his claims of torture, that that's not relevant to the charges. And the wrangle goes on. Things are, touch wood, looking up for Binyam, and I hope he's going to be home soon.
On February 23, 2009, almost 7 years after his arrest, Binyam was released from Guantanamo and returned to the UK. All charges against him were dropped. He said, "I have been through an experience that I never thought to encounter in my darkest nightmares. Before this ordeal, torture was an abstract word."